we are doing in the workshop will be about casual talk. We normally do case taking, complaints, chief complainer. So we are so much fixed with health and chief complaints and treatment part of the story, and we miss the flavor of conversation. So what I am planning to do is to have a bowl in which there will be chits written on various different topics. My journey in a train, and the conversation should start within the two people, or the school days, or going for a picnic, or facing an examination result. Like this, various topic will be there where those two people will have to talk for at least 5 minutes without stopping, continuously, and see how you will be stuck at many times, because now you are thinking what to talk, as against talk on any subject, whatever you want to, and see the conversation how it happens. The difference is, when we are trying to find a remedy, we are so much stuck in asking questions. But the same thing, if we are trying to talk to a friend who has met us on the roadside, we don't think what we are talking. That conversation is more fluent than the conversation that we are doing in our clinic. Why? Because we are goal oriented in clinic. We want to find a remedy, and because of that particular aspect of finding a remedy, we make a lot of blunders. Why? Because we want to see that the question is right. We want to see that the patient is going in a right direction. All this stresses us, and we spoil the art of conversation. Rather than simply conversing is much more smoother. But when we have an aim in finding the remedy, that same smooth conversation becomes complicated. So this is what I would like to do in the current workshop, how to make the art of conversation a gentle, smooth flow between two people. Right? So please take advantage of this, because this is what we normally face in our day-to-day life. Not only in our practice, but also when we are talking to the members of the family. So much of disputes we have. So much amount of difference of opinion we have, because we are mostly making premeditative thoughts. This person must have told me with this intention. That person must have told me with that intention. And this premeditative thoughts and ideologies actually ruin our relationships. And how to maintain that cordial relationship is when we do not assume, we do not premeditatively think, we do not make any assumption that this is probably that person must have told. Did we hear that he has said like this or she has said like that? No. Then who am I to think in that way? Only then the art of conversation and communication will definitely go smooth. So this is what my major focus is. Because why did this thing come to me? Because every day when we are seeing in our cases, what we notice is no person is happy. Somewhere or the other, somewhere there is a problem. So it is like simply at all saying that, I want peace. And if you remove the word I, what will remain? Beg your pardon? Want peace. Now that want is attached to I, or want is attached to peace? Want is attached to I. So if you remove that I, the want also will go. What remains over there? Peace is everywhere. But that I is creating problem for that peace. Everybody wants that peace. Everybody wants that. The peace is existing already. Similarly, I want happiness. But that happiness is there. But why do you want it? Let it happen the way it has to happen. Whenever it has to happen. At whatever situation it has to happen. So the idea is this. Why should I want to make it so stringent that that person should answer in this way? No. I thought it is natrum muraticum, so that person should have desire for salt. Even if the person is saying, no, I do not have desire for, no, remember during a childhood, someday you must have had salt. I am forcing the salt into her or his mouth. This is what is our problem basically. Because my mind says it is natrum mur, so I have to. Were you weeping very frequently during a childhood? Because I have thought of pulsatilla. That's why you say yes. So this premeditative thoughts and ideologies spoil our natural flow of conversation. This is what we should start building up, that let it come. Whatever comes, let it come. No problem. We'll see later on, whatever comes. And then you see the beauty. Everything fits into its own place. So therefore, the most difficult aspect for a human being is not to think. The more we are thinkers, the more we are dreamers. And more we dream, the more we miss the moment of now. That person is telling you something in the moment of now, and we are dreaming something about what I have thought. And there is no link. And once there is no link, there is no connection. And when there is no connection, there is no communication. And ultimately, the conversation is zero. And then we say, okay, after 15 days, I think he will be better. I think. Again, the thinking is coming in between. And the patient says, oh, I am not better. You must have had cold water. Again, blame it. You did not follow whatever I have told you. No, doctor, I followed everything. Remember whether you followed everything. All 15 days you properly followed. Yes. Then something must have gone wrong. Nobody will say, I have gone wrong. Something must have gone wrong. This is what our major problem is. That we never try to understand what have I done. And majority of the time we don't even write the question when we are taking cases. If we really write the question when we are taking cases, we know what question we have asked. And does that question have any connection to what the patient has told before? If my question doesn't have any connection to what the patient has told before, where does this question come from then? I thought of asking, who are you to think to ask that question? Did he or she say anything about it? No. Again, the idea about purpose of asking question. Every question should be a purposeful question. One should be able to justify why did I ask that question. Very, very important. I asked this question because this is what the person told me in the previous paragraph. Then that makes sense. Majority of the people would send me cases and say, sir, I am stuck over here. Sir, I am not getting any result in this case. When I ask them, why did you ask this question? No, I just felt like asking. Is it a fancy trip? That you just felt like asking, so you ask anything. And when you ask anything, the patient will talk anything. And you think that the person has given you nice history. But remember, that person has not given you history. The person has only made you happy because you are asking something. This is the problem with our conversation. And this is not only in our clinic, it is in general. We never have ever enjoyed conversation. Especially with strangers. I am not talking with friend circles. I am not talking with partners. That partners also talking, God knows what. Initial talk, gulu gulu. Sir, what else? Sir. After once it becomes old, that fellow looks that side, she looks that side. Love at first sight, divorce at first fight. This is the story. Because it's all superficial. Everything, that initial conversation was very superficial. Nobody understood anybody. Everything is matching. Everything is matching. Initially they are so happy. Pre-wedding shoot. And then after 6 months, each one shoot each other. That's the story that happens. With all the poses, this, that, all poses, the shooting happens. And then after 6 months, what a marriage life. God knows where did I meet him. You only went to meet him. No? God knows where did he meet you. Because this friction happens because we are not going into deeper levels. We are only entering into a conversation which is simply factual. And factual talks are only superficial talks. Deeper talks, when it happens, actually what is the thing that interests you? What are the things that bothers you? I can respect those things that bother you. I'll see to it that I do not enter into those aspects which bother you. Or I might try to help you out in those things that are bothering you. Then only that talk is at a deeper level. Otherwise, in the initial phases, you are having cough and this thing and fever, and your partner says, come, let's go for ice cream. You can't even avoid because it's a new dating. You're coughing and you're going to have ice cream. Next day you get 102 temperature. Let it be, at least I had that moment of time with her. What time did you have? Nothing. Sitting down over there, ice cream is finished, you are sitting down over there. What else? Yeah, me too. Soft ice? Yeah, me too. And then everything is finished. Then you don't want to look at that person's face also. Such is the relationship. So this particular aspect, how to go deeper, How to really understand the person at a deeper level is something that we are going to do this time. It will really benefit. As a human being, how to deal with our own children also. How to converse with our own children. How to rectify their mistakes. This was what exactly I wanted to do in Madurai also. Because of the demise of my mother, I couldn't do that. We had to cancel that. This was exactly what I wanted to do, 2 days. To give you all the glimpse. Maybe we'll replace that thing in near future. But how to actually understand the person in front of us without having this I factor. I am nobody. Let me listen to that person. And see the beauty in it of listening to the other person without keeping myself in the front. That I will be the receiver. Simply receiving the information and trying to understand and try to filter that information that I am receiving and see what is the issue in that person. Therefore, I say every conversation will have a subject. What is the subject of conversation today? Animal kingdom? Gone. Banner is gone, huh? Isn't it a subject? Are we sitting down here without a subject? Will we register without knowing the subject? So every talk will have a subject. In that subject, there will be chapters. Yes or no? Every subject has a chapter. Once we enter into the subject of conversation, of problems of a person, in that problem there is a main problem in that thing, that he is bothering me, he is troubling me, I am sensitive towards his behavior, or I am totally without any support because he is not there. This is the chapter. The sensitivity of the plant, or the survival of the animal, or the structure of a mineral. This is the chapter. Then in that chapter there will be a paragraph regarding what are you sensitive about, regarding what is the survival mode that you are having, or what type of support you need is the paragraph. And when you go further in that paragraph, you get the keynote symptom. My mother, without her, I just cannot think of myself at all. She has been a backbone to me. She is giving me unconditional love. This line is of magnesium type in that particular paragraph. So every conversation has a subject, down chapter, down paragraph, down line. This is how we understand every conversation. We cannot miss anything. If we miss, we will be completely lost. So what we need to do when we are seeing cases or when we are talking to anybody, first try and find out what is the subject that this person is trying to talk. Is the subject based on family matter? Is that person stressed? Is that person stressed about work issue? Is that person stressed about financial issue? Is that person stressed about relationship issue? This is the subject of conversation. So he will talk only about that. Now you don't ask something else. During our school days, if we had geography period, we will not remove history book. Yes or no? We will remove geography book only. And that's exactly what we used to do in our school days. Previous night before going to sleep, we will put our timetable. What is that timetable? Nothing else but what subject period tomorrow we have. Accordingly, that subject, whatever is going to be in our class at that point of time, we will open that book only from the bag. Means that teacher is going to teach history and I am going to learn history. This is the subject of the entire period, right? Similarly, every talk will have a subject. Trace what is the subject first. Once you know what is the subject, then in that subject, what is the person trying to tell me? That becomes the chapter. In that chapter, what is the botheration of that chapter? That becomes the paragraph. In that paragraph, what is that person experiencing will be the line. Is it clear? This is giving you a proper guidance how to go about. Rather than randomly, the person talks about work, that person talks about house, the person talks about wife is not compatible, the person talks about children are not listening to me, and the person says the boss is angry, and the person says that I am not having promotion. And you are going to ask whatever you like. That may not be the liking of the person. Then what are you going to do further? If the person is stressed more about not having promotion, you are fancied. Oh, wife doesn't listen to you. How does that feel? That doesn't bother that person. The botheration is that he is not getting promotion. That you are not asking. But for you, what is fanciful? Wife is not listening. That sounds fanciful for you. And therefore you ask that question, but the person is not able to tell because that is not the subject for that person. Are you getting? And then it goes east-west. Then that conversation doesn't work. Now this is about patient. Similarly, same thing with the family member, same thing with your friend circle, same thing with your workplace, everywhere is the same. And therefore then you say, oh, nothing gels with me properly, I am so sad, I am so depressed. Where is that depressed coming from? That depressed is coming basically because you are keeping your I more important than the person who is telling you or talking to you. Then the problem arises. Are you getting? This is what we will be dealing with. And this is a very, very, very important conversation. This is just a summary that I have given you. But when you really do that thing with practical, at the workshop, practically when you do it, then you will realize, you start to realize, yeah, this works. This really works. How you will be really making yourself aware about where are you going wrong. And then you see how your relationship with others develop. The beauty is, later on you will start, once you start being aware of it, your relationship with the world around you becomes beautiful. Then there is no friction, no argument. Why? Because you are trying to understand the person in front of you. Because they have come to confess in front of you. And when they are confessing, you are not judging. What you are doing is you are receiving the information. So you are the receiver, you are the radar, where those informations are coming. And then remark what Hahnemann says, and then remarks with the other senses is when you are then filtering it out, all those information that are coming. In other words, you are simply channelizing those informations. Is this a plant? Is this an animal? Is this a mineral? If it's a plant, which family? If it's an animal, which subkingdom? If it's a mineral, which row? Then further you are further filtering it out. From that family, what is the miasm, which remedy? From that subkingdom, which is the species that you are looking for? From that particular row, which is the element that you are seeing for? That becomes precisely clear for us to understand.